8.
That's exciting.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
I'm pumped.
Is it 8 already?
Yes. Are we
Time
doing a good
flies.
job?
Is it?
I know. I know.
I'm really excited for you guys.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So you guys can start anytime after the clap.
Okay.
3, 2.
Hey guys, welcome to Makeup to Breakups, episode 8. Yay! Thank you. We're so excited. We can't believe it. We're here, but we have our first guest.
Why are we so funny?
We're so happy. This is our first guest. You will always go down in history, girl.
I'm the first.
Yeah.
And 8 is such a good number.
8 is a good number.
That is.
I forgot what it means though.
Like infinity, right? Oh, check me out. I've been dropping gems all morning, y'all.
And isn't it the full moon too? This is new beginnings, y'all.
You know what though? Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. We gonna have to take a pause. Full moon disclosure. Everybody been on one yesterday.
Oh, yes.
Yesterday, like the stories I heard, even in my life.
Are we in
it's
Mercury
like-
still?
No, we're not.
Are y'all
Okay.
tripping?
No.
Okay, so first of all,
Look.
can we start this over? Because these two came in dropping
Sorry.
gems. No, we don't have to start over, but they came in dropping gems real early. Like, boom, infinite, boom, full moon, boom. I love that. Yes, episode 8. So that was a big celebration because
Wow.
I couldn't take it. Y'all took me by storm.
I'm very excited. This is great.
So this is going to be an amazing episode. We have our first guest, Natasha Bonneau.
Love the name.
That was fabulous.
Love the name.
I know. You saw how my voice dropped down a little, like Bonneau.
Wow. Wow.
That's a hot name.
That's a
Thank
hot
you.
girl name, hot girl, and we got a
Yeah.
hot girl subject. So today's episode is going to be a full episode of vertical sleeve gastrectomy.
Yes.
Now, there's a disclaimer here because I knew that was going to happen. And I asked her, what's the G? What's the G? And when she told me the last time, I said, girl, you're going to drop the ball. And that's what I did.
It's all good.
It's all good. And I appreciate you guys for giving me, in other words, VSG. And Natasha is going to be talking or taking us through all about it because it's something that, you know, it's very relevant in the beauty industry. So we want to talk about it. We want to dig deep. And I just want to give them a little bit of context on why. So my good friend Natasha here was doing a live one day on Instagram. And I was blown away by this Instagram live because I know so many people. You're not the first person that I know that got vertical or sleeve.
Yeah.
You're not the first person, but you and the young lady, I forgot the young lady you were doing the Instagram live with.
Oh, yeah. Clecia.
Felicia, you guys were the first ones that went into detail, like the struggles. And I felt like it was something I wanted to bring to Kay's attention too, because you guys are in the beauty industry, and I know several
Me too.
ladies in the beauty industry that who have executive jobs, women of color who've done it.
Yep.
And I was like, you know what? I think this would be it would be a hot topic. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm super pumped that you are here
I'm excited
to talk
to be
about
here.
it. I think this is going to be shedding some light on a lot of things that people have thought about.
Yeah.
And I think also, Kay, it's an intro to surgery in a way, because our episode prior to this was called Come Clean.
Yeah.
I didn't get to hear that one yet.
Yeah,
I'm
listen
so excited
to it. It was about just
Yeah, people.
cosmetic enhancements.
Yes.
And even though this can kind of play two sides of it, which to my understanding,
Yes.
it could be for health.
Yeah.
But then it also is sometimes beauty. I know people who have done it to prepare them for what they are
Yes.
planning to do. So I felt like this was ideal. All right. But I'm gonna stop talking, and we're gonna be asking questions, and we're gonna hand it over. What is the VSG?
So VSG is a form of weight loss surgery. It's probably the least invasive of all of them, and most common. It's basically when they cut your stomach. They literally cut your stomach into the shape of a banana. So they shrink your stomach down to this tiny size. everyone's sleeve is different. It just depends on what your doctor thinks is right for you and the amount of weight you need to lose and things like that. But basically, they shrink your stomach by like 80%, usually.
Wow.
So you have like the stomach of like a toddler by the end of it.
Okay.
I know that sounds so crazy, but yeah. So at the beginning of right after surgery, like you can barely eat anything. You're on a liquid diet for anywhere from 2 weeks to a month and a half, depending on the person. For me, I think I was on liquids only for like 2 months.
Oh my God.
I had such a difficult time eating after the procedure. And they were like, it's normal. That's just your stomach. But my stomach, they really cut my stomach down, like tiny, tiny, tiny. And the reason I know this, so the doctor comes into my room, in my recovery room, and he's like, you're weird, right? And I was like, yeah, I know, I want to see the picture. I made him take a picture of my stomach. When he took it out, that was a big stomach. He was like, your stomach is tiny. I was like, thanks, doctor.
Well, I hope so.
Right?
Like, I didn't go through this for nothing. I want the smallest one possible, okay? So
Do you get to choose your stomach?
you don't.
Oh.
They do. So that's the thing. So they go in and they see how big your stomach is, right? Because they don't really know until they get in there. Like, they do a
Okay.
little sonogram and
yeah.
things like that, but they don't really know until they're like in there. The other thing is you have to do this like pre-op diet to shrink the liver so that they can get up in there, because the liver sits like right there.
Yes.
And it blocks your stomach.
Yes.
So that's a whole other situation. So depending on how small your liver is and how easy they can get in there, that's when they determine these things. So yeah, it is a little intense, right? So, but yeah, I know people who have like, they've maybe taken like 75% of the stomach. So they end up having a bigger pouch. But it just depends on what the surgeon decides then.
Wow. So, of course, this is a dying question. Then I'm sure that not only I and Kay, but audience would like to know, what made you go through this?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's funny because I have known people who have gotten the surgery, and I was just always like, this is just not for me. Like, I'm pro surgery 100%. Like, if it's gonna make you feel better, if it's gonna make you happy, do it, right? And I want to say in 2017, my best friend got another procedure. So she got the gastric bypass, which is a more invasive procedure, and they do a lot of other things, right? And so just seeing how happy she was like, damn, like, you go, girl, like, But still at that point, I was just like, no, it's just not for me. I've always been a person that has been able to just kind of lose weight on my own with diet and exercise. And then I gain it back just depending on what's happening in my life. And I was like, I could do this. And then, I just started working, and then I got this really amazing job that I just kind of was growing in the position. I'm traveling, and life is great. But yeah, when life is great, you like going out to lunch, you're going out to dinner, you having fun, and you're just like, wait a minute, what is happening? And then I just realized that I wasn't really taking care of myself the way that I should have been. And one day I looked in the mirror, and I'm like, hold on, this is not me. Like, what happened to me, right? So I go to the doctor, and I'm having all these like little health issues and asthma, like, so it's like severe breathing issues, crazy allergies out of nowhere, or like allergy symptoms out of nowhere.
Well, hold on. Let me ask you. Did you gain weight?
Oh, honey, I gained
okay.
so much weight.
Okay.
So when I started with the company that I was with, that was in 2017. I had just lost a lot of weight, like on my own. I had lost about 45 pounds or so.
Wow.
So I was down to like maybe 250-ish. And then from when I started that job to mid 2018, I had gained so much weight. I was already at 300 pounds.
No.
Swear.
No.
I gained
I'm going to say no.
So
I'm going to fight you.
I'm
going to fight her right
swear.
now. The reason why, I met you in 2019.
Yeah, when we met, I was 300 pounds.
Impossible.
Promise you.
Okay.
Promise
excuse
you.
me. Excuse me. I'm sorry. You carry weight very well.
So, and this is the thing, and I didn't notice that I was this weight because I was always, first of all, very, very confident. Like I loved myself, but I didn't realize how big I was because it didn't look that way to me at all.
Not only you, me neither. What are you talking about? You carry weight very well. I would have never said that. I would have never thought that.
When we met, I was 300 pounds. I probably was over 300 pounds because I hit 309. Like that was my highest weight that I know of. So yeah.
Really?
Yes. Isn't that crazy?
And I'm trying to go through my head. When I met you, I did not even.
I was over 300 pounds. Promise. Crazy. And like, it was just like, what is happening? Yeah.
You post, and I'm sorry, you posted something on Insta. You posted your, like.
Before and after.
And I was like,
did she
I don't
look
remember
like
her.
that?
Yeah. I was in my head like,
Yeah.
I said, but maybe this was an old picture.
That was then. That was at that time. I'm telling you, it hit me and I was just like, what is happening to me? And it didn't really hit me because, again, in the mirror, you couldn't really see it. Like, I felt like I just looked like me. But when I was having all those problems and then the doctor was giving me medications for this, and that, I was like, no. She gave me a pump, a steroid pump, because I could not breathe. I was like, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I have to do something and I have to do something quick. But I need to do something that's going to be long term. Like I could easily just go on a diet. I can go and work out. Like I had a trainer. And I was like, this is not going to fix the problem because I have a very unhealthy relationship with food. So I was like, I need to start over. And therapy was a big part of it. So that was something that I looked into before the surgery. It was like, just go into therapy and kind of figuring that out. And then in therapy, like my therapist didn't necessarily encourage it. She was like, look, you need to do what's going to be right for you, but it doesn't hurt to get information. Okay, so I go to the doctor, my regular doctor, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, I've hit a wall. My doctor she was like, again, it doesn't hurt to get information. She set it up with the surgeon. She's like, you'll love this person. I was like, okay. But then she was like, I'm looking at your history. Like you've lost weight very easily before you know what I mean? So I think you can do this, but you have to be very dedicated. I'm like, okay. So she was like, but still go see the surgeon. Like, cause you just never know. And so I go and see the surgeon. And when I tell you, I went in very skeptical too. Like I was like, oh, I'm not going to do this, but let me just go get the information. Like I'm not going to get surgery. Like not me. Like I'm too scared, right? So I get to the appointment. And when I tell you I had the best experience I've ever had at a doctor, I was like literally almost in tears because I was like, I've never had such a good experience at a doctor before, ever. And so at that point, I was like, this is like supposed to happen. Okay. Like it felt like it was like on. He didn't pressure me. He didn't say like, you need this. He was like, if you want to do it, we could do it, but you have to be serious about it. Cause it's like a whole program, And so, yeah, and that's how it started.
Well, let me ask you this, right? Because it seems like you've had a good experience with your doctors about this. What about your friends and family? Did they deteriorate you from trying to do it? Like, were they saying to you, oh, why don't you just go see a trainer again or something like that? Did you get a lot of that, or how was that experience for you?
So it's weird. So I'm like a very private person. Like even just sharing this story, I'm like surprised that I've been sharing so much of this journey. But when I first decided like this is it, the first person I told, of course, was my man, and he was like, and he is like 100% behind me on anything that I decide to do. Right?
That's awesome.
Nice, yeah.
But he was like, oh, you sure you want to do that? Like surgery? And again, he's like pro, do whatever makes you happy. So for him to have that reaction, I was like, I'm going to do whatever I want to do, right? He was like, yeah, like do you, but I am scared. And then I guess he slept on it. And the first thing he said to me in the morning was like, yo, if you're going to do this, I'm 100% behind you. I'm on the diet with you. Like, and so right then I was like, okay, this is what we doing.
Yeah.
So then he told his mom. His mom was like, yes. Like, I was like, okay. And for me, and then I told my best friend, of course, and that was one thing is like, she had never pressured me to like do this. Like, even though she had went through it, but she was always like, if you're going to do this, like, I'm 100% behind you. Right. So I already knew she was supportive. Telling my mom was the hardest thing because my mom is like me, like very like, hold up, let's think about this. And so my mom, she wanted to support me, like you could tell, but she was also like, I don't want my kid having surgery, you know? So it took her a little while to come around, but she already knew, like, I'm gonna do whatever I wanted to do regardless. So she wasn't like, no, don't do it. But she was like, go through the process and be cautious. And then I didn't tell anyone else.
Okay.
I was like, I'm gonna keep this to myself because I've seen other people go through their process and how negatively like people responded to it. And I was like, I'm not gonna go through that because again, I'm still gonna do what I want to do, and I don't want to have to cut anybody off for being negative and bringing that into my space.
She's like, I want to continue to like you.
Exactly. So I didn't tell anybody until after I did it.
Okay.
I kind of like sprung it on people. Yeah.
So, how did you prepare? How did
It
you
was-
prepare for this process? Like, you don't got to go like step by step. It's just like,
Yeah.
I'm curious to know because I'm sure that if people think about it or wanted to do it, I know there's like a preparation process.
Yes.
So what did that look like for you?
So my process was so different from most people because usually this process can take anywhere from 3 to like 8 months, depending on your insurance and things like that.
Okay.
My situation took about 13 months.
Wow.
So it was a hot mess. So
That is discipline. You were like not only discipline, but you were dedicated.
like
you were serious.
100%. And I mean, there was a point where I just wanted to give up because I was like, maybe it's not supposed to happen, right? So I got to like the finish line. Like my surgery was supposed to happen in March of last year, but we know what happened, right? COVID came. It was like, shut it down. We're not doing any of this. But that week prior to COVID shutting everything down, I found out I had a heart condition because of this process. Like you have to go through your pre-op testing. I had a whole heart condition. They could not figure it out. And nobody knew how long I had this condition. Like this is probably something that I have been living with for a long time. So that was really scary. And like I couldn't really get the treatment that I needed because COVID was like, no, we shutting it down. So I had to take these medications. It was just like a nightmare once it got to that point. And then it was like, I was so defeated because I was like, yo, I'm at the finish line. Like I'm about to get this and no. So then, you know, COVID started to lighten up a little bit and I was able to get treatment for my heart, which was like a whole experience in itself. And then I found out I had to have a heart surgery. So I immediately thought like at that point again, like, oh God, I'm not going to be able to get the procedure because I have to have this heart surgery. I'm not going to be able to have It was a whole thing. So that was in the summer. I had the heart procedure. It went so well. And my doctor was like, oh yeah, you're good. Like the heart surgeon was like, oh, you're good. You could have your surgery. And I was like, what? And this was about 30 days after. I was like, so you're telling me I can go and have my surgery right now? He was like, yes, like go do your thing. Like,
Okay.
and then they cleared me to have surgery. And so I waited a little. I just wanted to give my, heart a little bit. And I waited. And so in September, I ended up having the surgery. But that was just like the messy part of my process. But to prepare, it was really just sticking to like the diet that they give you because they want you to lose a little bit of weight.
That was gonna be my next question.
Yeah. So they want you to lose a little bit of weight. They want you to kind of just change your behaviors. And I think for me that was hard towards the end because in the beginning I was like so pumped, and then once we started having all these problems and then COVID, I was like, I can't do this anymore. And so I started to go back into old habits, and that was a lot. And again, I'm so glad that I started therapy prior to this because if I didn't, I would have been a complete mess.
Okay.
Like a complete mess because it's like a lot to deal with. Like I had to learn how to eat again. I had to, like just be, again, disciplined. And I'm like, I lack discipline in certain areas. Like if I want to eat some potato chips, I'm going to go and grab them potato chips. You know what I mean? So it was like, how do I keep all of these things, like these foods and these things in the house without touching them, because I'm not going to tell my family like they can't eat whatever they want to eat. So that was hard. Like just telling myself like, you need to calm down, So it was very difficult. It was more mental for me than physical.
So what are like some, for females out there or anybody that wants to have the procedure, how did you keep yourself disciplined? Like, what did you do? Did you walk? Did you
I did.
turn on Netflix? Like, what kept you
Oh
sane?
God, it was hard. I mean, you definitely need some kind of support system. Like, I would recommend for everyone going through this process, like, you have to have someone that you can talk to. Because if you don't, you are going to lose your mind. Like, I think that was the biggest thing for me. So again, I had therapy, I had my best friend, I had my man, like, and just being able to like say things. Like, so there was one night, and I remember this because I was sitting on the floor in my living room, and I was so sad because I knew that I was not supposed to have this stuff, but I still did it. I was on my pre-op diet because right before the surgery, you have to go on like a liquid diet. And I just remember I was like so hungry and so angry that I was only having liquids. And I was in the kitchen, I was eating ice cream, like out the tub. And I was so defeated afterwards. Like, why did I do that? Like, I don't even feel better. And I was like sitting on the floor in the living room, like halfway in tears, like, what did I do? So it was like that. Oh God, that, like, having someone to talk to is important. Like, so afterwards, being able to just like say like, I did this, and I feel really horrible about it, and then having someone say like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't have did it, but like, you're human, was like was what helped me. What else did I do? I'm like thinking like, what else?
Did you exercise?
I did exercise. So that was another thing for me. Is like, I actually always enjoyed exercising and
Okay.
stuff. So I
That was
would
easy.
try to, so I would try to be as active as possible. The problem was once COVID hit, it was like a dark time, you know, like we didn't know what was happening. So then all the exercising kind of like came to a halt. I would try to work out at home, but it just didn't feel the same. And I think everybody was just not in a good mental space then either. So I was like, we can't do this. So I started like putting my energy into other things and just focusing on like creating content on Instagram, like just taking my mind off of the process in itself, because it was making me crazy, like just constantly thinking about it, like, am I going to get the surgery? And now I have this heart condition. Like, what? It was just there were just so many questions up in the air for me that I just didn't know. So I had to do something to distract myself.
Okay. I think the takeaway from what I'm getting from you and for like viewers and listeners out there is discipline and
it's hard because
and being motivated to keep doing it. Because
Yes.
you're saying it took you 13 months before you actually could even get the procedure. Wow.
And then I went in expecting it to be 6 months. So I was so, like, again, so defeated. The other thing, it was like, how do I stay disciplined? And it's like, I had to have people hold me accountable.
Okay.
Like, call me out if you see me doing something I'm not supposed to be doing.
Yeah. So
And
having that accountability partners is necessary for it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And then you have to be willing to hear that. You know what I mean? I think that's a lot. So, and at the beginning, I was like very angry. Like, if my man would say like, why are you having a soda? And not that I felt like he was like checking me or anything. And I asked him to do this, but it was like frustrating to me. Like, I can have a soda if I want. But then I'm like, in reality, no, you can't have a soda. Like, so I had to be like open to hearing the things that I was doing that I shouldn't have been doing, you know? And so after a while, I was able to like kind of just accept those things for what they were and just like, okay, I'm in the wrong here, you know? Yeah.
So owning your slip-ups.
Owning it. Like, you
That
have
could
to
be
be able
hard.
to own it. It's very hard. And again, this is why I tell people, like, you have to, well, you don't have to, but you should look into therapy while going through this process.
Yeah.
It is so important. Because they're going to give it to you like it is. Like,
Do you watch My 600-Pound Life?
heck yeah. Do you watch it?
I love it too, right? So, but yeah, watching
Kay
that
asks
show.
me if I watch that every time she asks is when she says
When I
that
watch
exact-
it, right?
that exact line.
But it's true, like watching that show, it's like, yeah, like I think a lot of times people need more of a therapist.
Yes.
More so than anything.
Yes.
Like, why are you eating, 5 boxes of pizza?
Yeah,
You know,
listen,
like-
and I was like, and I thought I was bad. So sometimes I watch the show and I'm like,
oh no, that show makes you feel better.
yeah, like what? But then you go and I think about it, and like I said, I had a very unhealthy relationship with food, and having the therapist made me realize that, I had a form of an eating disorder. You know what I mean? And I didn't realize that until talking to this person. You know. Because there would be times where like I would just go and like binge eat things, and I'm like, why am I eating
Out of
all this?
emotion?
Emotion.
Okay.
And it wasn't just like sadness or depression. It was like even when I was happy, I would just be like eating things and just being happy and enjoying myself.
Would you say that your relationship with food was like codependent?
Absolutely.
Okay.
100%.
That can be very dangerous at times. Yeah. Sure.
Absolutely. So and again, it was just learning that about myself during this process, because I knew something was up, but like I was in denial about it, you know? So again, it's just taking that ownership. But therapy helped me work through that. So yeah, I think it's very important.
Let me ask you, like, how much weight do you think you lost prior to actually having the surgery in those 13 months?
So it was up and down. So I had every month they kind of wanted you to lose a couple pounds. So I was doing good in the beginning, right? I was like losing 2 pounds here, 3 pounds here. And then I'm not really sure what happened. And
the pandemic happened.
No, this was like right before the pandemic. Actually, I do know what happened. So I was no longer with that company that I had loved, right? And I was like very sad about it. And I felt like I was missing something. And then the eating was again, and I wasn't motivated to work out, and I wasn't doing the things that I was supposed to do. And I gained 6 pounds. When I tell you, the nurse practitioner that works with my surgeon was on me because she was like, "You're doing so well. What happened?" Like, she got me together. I was like, okay. Because if you gain too much weight, they'll deny you for your surgery. Because they're like, what's the point? Yeah, they're like, what's the point? You're not willing to change your behaviors. And yeah, you'll have the surgery, you'll lose weight, but you'll gain it all back. So I was like, wait, I don't want to risk not being able to do this. So I got back on track. And then what I did was I started my pre-op diet. And I lost 16 pounds or so, like very
That's
easily.
amazing.
Like it was like, it just came on. I was like, oh, okay, I could do this. Pandemic. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, that pandemic.
You're like over it.
Yep. So then I probably gained back all of it, almost of it. And then with the whole heart thing, I was like, oh no, I gotta get right. Like, my heart is messed up. So then I started losing more weight here and there. And then I had the heart procedure. And once they were like, okay, you're good, you can get the other surgery, I was like, okay, so I got to get back on track. And then I was able to lose 11 pounds.
Okay.
So
Good
prior
for
to surgery.
you.
So I went into surgery at 291 pounds.
Oh, wow. Okay.
91. And then when you got out, what was your weight?
I have no idea. I didn't check. So I waited. I was like, you know what I'm going to do.
Oh, they don't do that.
Some people do because.
No, I thought they would do that for you.
No, they don't.
Oh, okay.
They're like, because you just basically losing your stomach and fluid. So I was like, let me just wait. And when I tell you that first weigh-in that Friday, so I started weighing myself every week, it was like the weight was like dropping off. I think I lost like 11 pounds in the first week.
Wow.
What?
I also didn't eat anything.
Well, you're also on a liquid diet.
And I mean, and it was hard. It was even hard for me to have liquids, which was like, it was very difficult. Like my body kind of went into shock and was just like.
So question, wait. Because they suggest that you juice. That's what you were doing.
So
right after.
So what I was doing, so right after like the surgery, let's take it back. So 2 weeks before the surgery, you're on liquids. Some doctors will say all liquids, or my doctor is like 2 protein shakes a day, 64 ounces of water, and 1 meal. No carbs, all veggies and protein. And so that was my diet prior to surgery. And then after surgery, it was all liquids. So it was 4 ounces of a protein shake. Imagine drinking 4 ounces of a protein shake, and that's a meal. 4 ounces. Yeah. And a normal protein shake is usually like 11 ounces to 14 ounces. And you're only drinking 4 ounces, and that's a meal. I was like, what? How am I going to do this? But then I found that I could not do it. I would take a sip, and I'd be like, I'm done. I could feel it going down.
After you had the procedure.
Yes.
This is post-surgery.
I was like, whoa.
So you could
wait, hold on. And drinking water was the most difficult. I thought that would be fine for me. Drinking water was the most difficult. It made me immediately nauseous. I could feel it moving around in my little stomach.
Serious.
It almost was like I was seasick. So, So after surgery, you're on all liquids. They want you to have protein shakes. They want you to hit like 56 ounces or 60 ounces, something like that, of protein a day. I mean, everybody's different, but usually it's about 60 ounces of protein a day. Do you know how hard that is? And you're only drinking 4 ounces of liquid at a time. And a lot of times you can't. Like in the beginning, I would literally sip out of like the little medicine cups that the children's like medicine.
Yeah.
You get a cup like that and you're sipping that.
Wow.
So let me ask you this. Were you depressed?
Absolutely.
Because now you can't eat the foods that you do want to eat.
At first, no. At first, I was like, this is just part of the process. But I want to say week 3, post-op, it hit me. I was like, what did I do? Like, you have that, like, almost like regret, you know? And it was like, and it wasn't even that I missed my foods. It was that I just felt miserable because I'm like, I'm not normal anymore.
Oh my
you don't
gosh,
feel
this is giving
normal?
me like goosebumps. Can I tell you? And you can let me know if this is the truth, but it's almost like you're departing from your old self. So that's 7 stages of grief.
Yes.
What?
I was like grieving the loss of my
your old self.
Yes. And I went through that for a while.
All through my body.
And I went through that for a while. Like, I mean, up until recently, honestly.
Yeah.
And so again, like week 3, I got really down. Like, I'm like, ugh, like I can't eat. But I didn't want to eat. I had no appetite. I didn't have an appetite until probably a month ago, honestly.
Wow.
So it was crazy. But I feel like I didn't want to eat. But the fact that I couldn't, and I knew I couldn't, really bothered me. I couldn't even drink water the way I wanted to. And I was so dehydrated. And again, I was just like sipping. And then I got to a point where I was like frustrated. And I was like, I'm not eating anything. I'm not drinking anything. I'm not doing anything. Wow. That's how it got very, very frustrating. And like, and I just felt so defeated. I'm like, what did I do? Did I make the right decision? So I had a lot of doubt up until about week 5. The other part of that also was because your hormones change when they remove your stomach, right? Everything tastes disgusting. So everything that I could eat was horrible. My taste buds were so off, and that lasted for like 6 weeks.
Here I am in a complete opposite zone of that. I'm not a foodie, but I taste everything.
Yeah.
now.
Well,
So,
they say that the stomach is the second brain.
Ah.
They do.
And it
it's
really
the second
is.
brain. If you can conquer this, you can conquer anything.
Seriously,
They say the stomach can, you know?
I didn't realize it until afterwards, and I'm like, my stomach controlled so much, and my hormones are all over the place, so you're like adjusting. It was like a wild time, like really a wild time. I remember not being able to eat or because I had these like chewy vitamins. I could not take them because they were so
disgusting.
bad.
Yeah.
It was a rough time.
So how you feel now?
Amazing.
I love it.
So it was like, the process from September to now has been like kind of crazy because I go through these periods of
September 2019.
Yes.
Okay.
I go through these periods of 2020. Yeah. I go through these periods of like being very, very happy and happy with my decision. And then sometimes I'm like sad and like, again, still mourning the loss of my old self because I was very happy with my old self. Even though it was creating problems for me, I was still like happy with who I was, you know? So it was like for instance, I want to say a couple weeks ago, I had a moment where I looked in the mirror and I didn't feel like I looked different. And I was like, what did I do this surgery for? Why did I have this? And going into it, of course, it wasn't, for me at least, it wasn't for like how I wanted to look. But I knew that was something that came with it. And I was like expecting the results, right? And I didn't see them in the mirror. And then I realized like I am going through a lot of like serious body dysmorphia. I mean, we talked about it,
talked
right?
about it.
And I was like, what is wrong with me? Like,
That was
why
gonna be
can't
my
I
next
see
question.
it? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like, so it's just like, I can't see the result. I mean, I'm starting to see it now, but this is just this is recent, you know?
Yeah. But there's a lot of people that have procedures and then they're not content with their decision
That's
or how they
normal.
look.
Yeah.
Would you want to do more? Because sometimes people want to go back in and do more and things like that.
I feel like for me, like no, like I don't. I mean, like I'm happy with how I look. And again, I didn't like hate the way I looked before.
Yeah.
So not really. I mean, I know that at some point I am gonna have to have a tummy tuck because my skin is very loose already.
Okay.
And I know it's gonna kind of get in the way and it's gonna be annoying. So I think at some point I will have a tummy tuck. But I don't like see myself doing anything else.
Okay.
I'm wondering because I know a lot of people go through this with their arms. Like my arm skin is so loose, but it doesn't really bother me as much as I thought it would. So I probably, if it doesn't bother me, then I'm not
Yeah.
gonna do
Okay.
it.
I
Yeah.
know based on like a few people I do know, they did a lot of like skin tightening.
Yeah.
They did the tummy tuck, like you just mentioned. They did like the tightening, like I guess
The
to
arm,
remove
yeah.
the arms.
I know people that have to get their back, and so
They
they'll
did
do the
back
arm
as
and the
well.
back together.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
yes, they did do that together. So, wow.
Yeah.
So that's a separate cost, right? It's not
Yes,
included in
because
the
you
package.
have to pay for that. So no,
That's
this
not
is the
included in the
thing.
package?
So that's the thing. So this procedure is covered by most insurance. It also depends, and I mean that's here in the U.S. I know in other countries it's not, but in some there are. But it also depends on your like BMI. Like I know
Yes.
people who have this surgery who are like maybe the weight that I am now, and they go in and have this procedure.
It can be an elective surgery?
It can be,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
I mean, a lot of people will go to other countries and do it because it's a lot less expensive if you do it
Yeah.
that way.
Okay.
Like I know someone who their insurance didn't cover it here, and I think it was because they said that she wasn't, her BMI wasn't high enough.
Yeah.
So she went to another country and had it done, and she just paid out of pocket for it, and it was like a fraction of the cost. But I of course qualified. I got it covered by insurance, and which is a great thing. But yeah, it's just because of how overweight I was. And then for me, because I'm gonna have all this loose skin, I will likely like if it's something that really is hindering my quality of life, insurance will cover skin removal.
Okay.
But it's not like if you go into a plastic surgeon, like you're gonna go to someone who's just gonna remove the skin. It might not look that good, and I've seen that. So I've done a lot of research on that, and I see some of the results from just having it covered by insurance and what the quality of work that you get. Like they're not snatching you up. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So
They're not snatching you like you want to.
yeah,
right?
it's like you're not. No. It's like they're just
So it's
removing
not
the skin.
necessarily placed in a cosmetic thing.
Exactly.
It's not cosmetic.
It's not. They don't
Okay.
consider it cosmetic.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
like this procedure is not like, so it's considered weight loss surgery, and like preventative type of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
most people who, in the beginning, I'll say, a lot of people who were having this surgery were older people, who were overweight and struggled to lose weight. That's how this kind of came around. And now younger people are just like, I'm taking control of my life right now. So that's why we're doing it now.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, a lot of people who got the surgery, like, I want to say over the last 10 years, we'll say, were older people.
Yeah. If you had to give advice to someone who was going to get this procedure, like, what would it be?
Do the research. I researched this so much. I mean, I researched this procedure and other procedures to see what was right for me. I cannot tell you guys how many times I've gotten a DM, and this is like recently, about the procedure, and people who are like, oh, I'm starting the process, I'm going through the process, and they know nothing about the surgery.
Yeah.
Nothing.
When I heard what you were like, you and the young lady were on Instagram Live, I was like, people need to learn.
You have to.
Like,
yeah.
it was so like eye-opening for me, because I think most of the time when people, we have a relationship, so when I asked you about it, you were very open with me, opposed to like in my past, they didn't really tell me.
Yeah.
I didn't even really, and I think it was more of such a personal thing.
Yeah.
They didn't dig deep. I feel like this could be like major, and it could be a lot of mentorship in that.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people who are interested, and I feel like you didn't even tell me you did that much research. I can tell. I can feel it through that whole life. I was like, oh, she did her.
And that's the thing. Like for me, I'm just like a person who likes to do research on things, right? Like that's
Before
just
you
me.
move forward.
Exactly. I need to know every single detail that I can possibly know, so that whatever I can control, I will control, and then whatever I can't, like whatever, we'll leave that up to whoever. But I don't think that a lot of people realize how much you go through during this process, how much you learn about yourself. And like there's just so much to take away from the process. And it's not just about, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to be snatched. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's
13 months
more.
is not a long stretch.
Exactly.
13
So
months, yeah.
going through that and talking to different doctors and, just you learn so much about yourself. Like I didn't realize I had an eating disorder. I didn't realize that I was out of control. I didn't know these things until I started going through this process. And I think that that's the other part of it. And then like a lot of people, and I don't want to say like a lot of people, and I think that, but this is why sometimes this gets a negative, like, like people look at it negatively, is that people think that this is just a cosmetic thing. And it's like a lot of people that go through this process, like have issues with food or, you know what I mean? Like there's something else behind it. So, and it's so funny. So someone reached out to me in DM recently and was like that she's going through the process. She had already started the process, but now she's going through the process again. And it kind of blew my, because she didn't go through with it. Like, she didn't get to go through with it. I guess COVID messed it up, right? And so she says to me, like, I'm going through the process. She knew nothing about the process. Okay. And for me, I'm like, okay, well, I'm here to answer whatever questions. Like, that's why I'm sharing my story, because I know that a lot of people don't know what's going on, right? I had to start somewhere. But again, I'm a person who likes to do research. So, but not everybody's like that. So, but it blew my mind that she knew nothing about the process, like zero. She was asking me so many questions. I mean, like even basic questions, like, do you have to take vitamins? And I'm like, how are you in this process? Because a lot of these programs require you to take classes. And she did say that to me, that she has to take these classes. I'm like, are you paying attention in these classes? Like, I don't think you realize how serious this is. And so, I was just talking to her about that. And the other thing that kind of shocked me is she did not know what the procedure was. So she asked me like,
oh no.
She asked me like, can you take the sleeve off? And that's a common question. Like people have that question. However, if you're going through the process, you know that there's nothing being put in you. Like it's not an actual sleeve. Your stomach just looks like a sleeve because of the shape they cut it into. And I'm like, you do realize that they're going to cut your stomach out, And so I guess that is like, it just eye-opening to me. And I'm like, you got to do some more research, because you will go into this. One is like, you don't want to be shocked, right? Like, it's very shocking when you go in and you talk to a doctor and they're telling you that they're going to do this to you, number one. But two, a lot of these doctors or surgeons, they have a program you have to follow. And if you don't know your stuff, they will not proceed. Like they won't move forward with you, because
rightfully so.
They're like, you're not serious about it. You don't even know what's happening with your body. So that's why I always tell everyone, like, do your research. Like, talk to people, join support groups. Like, it is so important. I joined every support group I could. I started like following people on Instagram who had this surgery and just like kind of reaching out to the community, because it is like a community of people and like we like ride for each other. That's one thing I will say about these people that I've met along the way. Super, super supportive. So again, that's like the biggest thing that I always recommend. Do your research.
I heard that. Do your research.
Do it.
That's
Reach out to me if you have to, but you got to do the research.
I got a question, and I should have Googled this before I came, because I don't know if you'll know. But about the mortality rate, they say is there like high mortality rate, like your body might react to it different.
So it's
differently after
funny.
you
It's
had
like
it?
3%.
Okay.
So it's very low, 2 or 3%. And as more people are getting it, it's just going down.
Okay.
Again, this procedure is so like minimally invasive. Like they literally do it with like a robot. Like, so they don't cut you open. I wish I could show you my scars. They're so tiny. I have 5 little tiny scars, and then one, it's a little bit big. It's like small though, and that's where they remove the stomach. So like, it's like not a huge, I mean, it's obviously a huge procedure, they're cutting your organ, but it's not as scary as it sounds. There are other forms of weight loss surgery, like the gastric bypass, which is more invasive because they kind of reroute your intestines and stuff. So, but they do it the same way with like a robot. And then there's another procedure. It's called a duodenal switch. I think I'm saying it right. That one is like, it's a little bit more intense. They usually do that on someone who is having a revision. So maybe they've done the procedure that I have and they didn't get the results that they needed, or they were heavier and they didn't, they weren't able to lose as much weight because the sleeve only can do so much, And then I think at like 18 months, you kind of plateau. So if you're a little heavier and you have more weight to lose and you just really can't lose it, they'll revise your procedure, and they do that. That procedure, they actually also remove your gallbladder.
Oh my gosh.
So it's a little bit more intense. I also find that a lot of surgeons don't practice, like they don't do that in their practice. So like you have to go to a specialist. I have a good friend who actually had to have that procedure done, and her results are amazing. Like she amazing. So but yeah, so all the procedures are different, but this one was like, it was a little more simple. The recovery was a lot easier. Yeah.
And that's what I was hearing about the VSG. It's like less invasive.
Yeah.
I also learned that a lot of your results have to do a lot with you and your discipline.
Absolutely.
And your program and how you do things. And so it's not just like, okay, surgery got me together. It's just like, okay, we're gonna get you through the door, but you gotta
do the work. You have to do the work. And that's another thing that I tell people is like, don't think that this is gonna be like an overnight thing. It's not gonna fix all the problems. It's not going. It might actually create more problems because now you're going through some emotional stuff and all the mental stuff, right? And then don't think it's gonna happen overnight. Like my results were phenomenal. And I was just like, oh, this worked for me. And then so talking to my man, he's like, no, you did the work. Like you measured all your food. You went on 6-mile walks. Like, you are boxing. So it wasn't just the surgery. Yeah, you don't eat as much as you used to and you're learning how to eat again, but you did all the work. So that took a while for me to like realize that, oh, I did this,
Right,
Girl, you're doing. Every time I think I told Gay the other night, I said, she posted a picture. I was like, what the fuck?
It is crazy.
This is major. And I'm gonna boast you up like I'm celebrating you because I know a lot of people and I'm like, I don't know anyone who's going as hard as you.
Listen.
At all. Who's done the surgery.
That was like a thing for me. It was like, if I'm going to do this, like that, and that's just me. Like when I do something, I'm going to do it. Like, I did it. This is where we at. So that's just my personality. But I think that more people need to understand, like, it's just not going to fall in your lap. Like,
you got to go get it.
You got to go and get it. Like, and so then it's funny. So in that conversation that I was having with that young lady who didn't really know a lot about the surgery, she was smaller than me, from my start weight, and she was like, to think that, because I think I've lost like 85 pounds now. She was like, to think that I could lose
the time you went in
from September 4th. That was like the time so I was like 300 September 4th, and then when I went in, I was 291. So I was trying to explain to her, like, my results are not like typical. Like, you have to work. The other thing is, like, she's smaller, so you don't have a lot of body weight to lose. You don't have a lot of fat to lose. So you can't go in expecting that you're going to have the same results as me. So I tell people this all the time, like, you have to set the expectation, like, your results may not be the same as mine, So that's another thing. It's like, and again, it goes back to doing the research, because I knew that the bigger you are, the bigger your results would be, right? Like, because you have more to lose. Where someone smaller going in, like I met someone through Instagram who went in and she was smaller. She didn't lose as much weight as she maybe thought going in, but she didn't have a lot of weight to lose. You know what I mean? Where I, for instance, had maybe 40 pounds more weight to lose. So that's why it just kind of fell off. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I do think your story is very inspirational.
Thank
And the
you.
fact that you would come out here and tell people your story, your truth, and be so honest and raw with us, I really
Yeah.
appreciate that.
I think a lot of people are shocked because I am a very private person, but I just going through the process, right? And then when COVID hit, everybody was just not okay. Like, I feel like there was nobody that was okay. And then finding out about the heart thing, and I just felt, I wasn't going to tell anybody about that, but then I just felt like I needed to share because I started talking to people around me and everybody was going through something, right? But nobody had a person to talk to. And I'm just like, we can't keep suffering in silence. So that was like a big reason why I decided to like talk about what I went through.
That was the first time you were like on the live. That's the first time I witnessed.
That was the first time I like talked
about the heart,
it.
the heart part.
That
I was like,
I think I posted something in my story because someone was like asking, like randomly reached out to me, like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "You know something?" So and then I just like, you know what? Let me just say something.
yeah.
And then but yeah, that was like the first time I like talked
yeah.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. I think wow, it's with the stomach with just that whole surgery, and it's such a important thing to share because
I think that was it too. Is like I felt like I had to share it. I felt like that was another thing. Like once I started sharing my story, people that I've known or like maybe didn't know very well started reaching out to me like, you know, I'm going through this process. I'm doing this and I've been just doing it alone. Nobody's supporting me. And I'm just like, that's why I'm here. You know what I mean? So and at that point it was like, okay, this is the right thing to do. Like I'm doing the right thing. So yeah.
That's so beautiful too, that in turn you're willing to extend yourself out to support other people who are looking for support. Because sometimes because you just mentioned that it's private for you.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I think it takes a lot outside yourself to support another person. It does. So that's major.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And that was another thing. It was like on this like journey of like finding myself, right? I was like, I was also dealing with like, why am I here? Like, what is my purpose? And I always thought like it had to be something specific, but like I realized during this is that my purpose is to help people. So
that is so big.
And then I was like, how do I do that? And then as I'm going through this and I'm like, and sometimes I just go back and look at my DMs and I'm like, oh my God, like this person reached out to me. Like this one person, she was like, oh, she asked me something and she was just so shocked that I wrote back to her. And I'm like, one, like, I'm not a celebrity. Like, what? And then two, it was just like, why not give someone, you know, whether it's encouragement or love or support, it's free. Like
I literally just screamed that in my head.
It's free.
Like, it is free.
You know what I mean? So I just feel like sometimes, and like with this person, like she, you know, she said it. She was like, everybody's like being negative about it. People don't think I should do it. And I'm like, is it gonna make you happy? Get it done. Like what? So that just kept like it keeps me going. Like it's like keep sharing the story, and I'm a person who really gets into my head. So I'm like, what should I post? I'm like, I'm gonna post everything. I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna give you what I'm going through. Like
you never know who you're reaching out to.
Exactly,
and you don't know how much you're like helping someone, inspiring someone, like just getting someone ready to like move forward with their life. You know what I mean? And it's like, and you don't have to necessarily like know this person. Like you can know this person. You're inspiring another person from far.
Yeah,
that's so great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
that just filled my cup.
I really appreciate you coming out here to tell us your story.
Yeah, it's so important, and
I'm
I
glad
just
to be here.
Yeah, I just feel like us being in the beauty industry. So for you guys don't know, we are in line. Like we are in the same cosmetic industry, and it's something real. It happens, you know, especially when you get into the travel life. You're traveling per diem. Sometimes you're not home.
You're not home.
Like
I was not home for weeks at a time.
At a time. I'll share with you. When I lived in Atlanta, I would be home once out of let's say 30 days. I'll probably be home 7 days out of the 30 sometimes if I had back-to-back travel. And you're on the road. You're eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner out. So you're not preparing your food. You don't know how they're preparing food. You don't know what they're cooking. So it's just like, you don't mean to, but this is your means of survival.
That's what happened.
You know what I'm saying?
You're
So
entertaining people, like,
yes.
you know, having meetings. Oh, let's grab a coffee. Let's have a drink.
So let me ask you
all
this.
of that.
Have you started traveling again already?
No.
Okay, so how is that going to look for you? Or what are
I
you
don't
going to do
know.
to prepare?
I have no idea.
We'll cross that road when we get there.
I'm gonna keep it really
talked about
honest. I
this
don't
too.
know. I'm practicing now. So I just recently went back to work, and like even just today, right? I was like, what am I gonna have for? And that's another problem that I'm having, and I'm working through it. I'm much better now. But like even just a few weeks ago, I was obsessing over food. Like I can't eat this. I can't eat this. The other thing is like just recently I started really being able to handle certain foods. So that's just been a journey in itself. But like coming here today, I was like, what am I gonna have for breakfast? And I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna overthink this. I'm gonna have my morning coffee like normal, and I'm gonna bring a shake with me. And if I get hungry, I'll have my shake. That's it. Like, let's keep it simple. But on a day where I'm going to be out longer, it's like I have to bring snacks and I have to, and it's like a lot. And so a lot of this is a lot of planning. So I think once I am traveling and on the road again, and it's going to be a lot of planning. I'm going to have a little lunchbox.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I see a lot of people who do the surgery and they are into their meal prep. And I'm like, I'm not that girl. But I'm going to have to become that girl.
Okay.
So I'm realizing that. Like, I am going to have to be that girl, at least for a little while, you know? Because it is intense. And, like, you'll get really frustrated. I went to, like food shopping with my mom. And, you know, we were out longer than I expected. I was starving, like full on starving. And I'm like, I can't just go somewhere and buy food because I have to know what's in it. I have to know, like, you know, like I can't have certain amount of sugars. I can't, like, you know, there's so much. And so, and then you go places and then like the menu options, you're just like, I can't have any of this.
Yeah,
So.
I was going to ask you that, but I know you said you haven't went out that much
I
since
haven't.
the pandemic. But I wonder how, like, we're going to have to do a part 2. Because I want to know how
gotta
your
do a part
experience.
two, yeah.
You gotta do your
To go to restaurants
like
and
That
things,
okay.
right?
So it's so funny. I've been very nervous about going to restaurants because
Yeah.
I know, like, especially like with girlfriends, like
Yeah,
that's
you
what
wanna
I'm
be
most worried
social.
about.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not gonna drink. I mean, I personally just don't drink, but like I'm not gonna drink. Everyone else is gonna probably be drinking. I am gonna order a meal and I'm probably gonna eat this much of it, you know? And it's like that can be very overwhelming. And so I'm very worried about that. Like we had like ordered takeout not too long ago. Just me, my man, and my daughter. And it was fine because they know what the situation is, right? And they know how much I can eat. So we just order food for them and I'll just like take a little bit and take a little bit. But going out with your girlfriends and you're like, you want to have a good time and you know, you're just having fun and it's just like, I'm here, like, can I eat that? Like, so how is that going to work? And I'm very nervous about that.
Okay.
Can I share my experience?
Yes.
Because I don't eat like everybody else.
Yes, yes,
God.
yes.
I don't eat like everybody else.
Yeah, it's so difficult going out
once
with you.
you know what you can't, I
Yes.
mean, my answer is just like, I don't eat that. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So it's, I know you probably get the answer, like questions like, so what can you eat?
Yeah.
How about you keep to your menu and I'll keep to mine?
Exactly.
That
So
is definitely her attitude. So
yeah,
that
I don't really get
Yeah.
pressed about that,
Okay,
you know,
good,
because
good,
I
good.
haven't eaten meat in 6 years.
Got it,
So
got
it's
it.
just kind of, you know, the portions, the dairy.
Yeah.
So once you've married that, I'm very comfortable going out, you know,
Yeah.
and eating with friends because I already made my decision.
Yes.
You know what I
Okay.
mean? What I can and cannot eat.
Yep.
Because also, if I also had bad experience on my own time when I went out to eat, and then I was very ill later on because they cook certain things. So it's just like once I've married my diet,
Yeah.
or when you marry your diet, and this is how you're
This
eating,
is-
or
yes.
it's not even your diet, your lifestyle.
Exactly.
Once you've, you know, married your lifestyle, and this is who you are, take me or leave me alone.
That's it. Yeah.
You don't love me.
Leave me alone.
Yes, yes. See, I love that. I'm just wondering if it is going to, like, how frustrating it's going to be when I'm like, and everyone's eating and enjoying, and I'm like,
Oh.
oh, here's 2 bites and I'm done, and everyone's still
it's
eating.
here.
That is what I'm like really worried about.
It's here.
Yeah.
Let me just share something with you. The other day I had lunch with my friend and she ate the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like quick. And I was just, you know, my stomach also has shrunk because I've also lost a lot
Yeah.
of weight. And I don't eat like that.
Yeah.
She's like, you can eat whatever. I'm like, but that's you. That's not me. Because I know if I eat all of this, my stomach's
You're
going to
not
knot
gonna feel
up.
good, yeah.
And I'm not going to feel good.
Yeah.
So I kind of
true.
I disconnect from what they're doing.
Got it.
And I know it's very hard to do that. It's very difficult to do that. So it's just like when you mentally and, when you're there, you'll do it.
Yeah.
Trust me, it's going to be so easy and effortless. I
I'm
promise.
like very nervous about that.
Yeah, I know. But it'll be effortless. I promise you.
I mean, I'm like ready, but I'm like,
take your time.
Yeah.
Yeah, ease
Take
into
your
it.
time. Ease into
Yeah.
it. No, it's Godspeed. And I get that from Kay. It's Godspeed, honestly, because it's just like,
Yes.
you can't be on everyone's scale or
Yes.
on
Yes.
everyone's
Yes.
time.
That's true. That's true.
And and you're also building up your own discipline.
Mm-hmm.
But I did have a quick question for you. How have you tried fasting too?
Yes.
Can you fast in this process?
You can. They don't want you to do it this early.
Yeah.
Because it could be dangerous. Like
definitely.
they're like you, and even I'm struggling with this too because they want you to eat like every 3 hours. I can't eat. I physically cannot eat every 3 hours.
Yeah, I'm not that girl typically.
I can't. I mean,
I get
before
that.
I could, but I can't now. Like I physically cannot do it. So I have my coffee. I'm able to drink a lot more liquid now, which is amazing. So I think I drank like 16 ounces just now, which was wild because like, I mean, it took me a little bit of time, but in the beginning I couldn't do anything near that. But I'm not hungry and I'm probably not going to be hungry for another hour or two. But they want you to like set timers. And then the other thing for me is like, I am not good with so much restriction like that. Like I don't want to be on a schedule to eat, So I'm trying to find that balance and I'm just like, I'm going to eat when I'm hungry. And this is working for me. Eventually, I will start fasting again. So that really worked for me prior to surgery because it kept me on my toes. Like I know I'm going to eat this, and this within this window, and I ain't eating outside of that window.
Okay.
So I'm going to go back to that eventually. But right now, I just can't because of how I get hungry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like my appetite is all over the place. Like yesterday, I was starving the whole day. And I was like, why am I so hungry? But then I looked at, because I keep a log of my food. And the day before, I had burned so many calories and I only had taken in like 600 calories for the day.
Wow.
I was starving yesterday. Starving. So, and yesterday I was able to take in like 1,300 calories, which is not like a typical day for me. I usually take in from 800 to 1,000 calories.
Yeah.
So yesterday I was freaking out like, I'm eating so much. But I'm like, no, you starved yourself the day before. Not on purpose, but like you were starving.
You want to know what I ate yesterday, y'all? It's
Yes.
disgusting.
I'm like, I want to know. Let me live through you.
Okay. So I started off with a honey bun.
Yes.
And then
Did you warm it up?
Time out.
No, I didn't have time.
Oh, no. You have to warm it up.
Honey bun from where?
You know the bodega. When the last time I bought one of those?
Girl, you know the last time I had a honey
I
bun?
know it ain't been since
Let me-
like high school.
Can I tell you? You want to hear a fun fact? Mm-hmm. The last time I had a honey bun was when Popeyes on Empire was a corner store.
No.
Oh,
wait,
really?
wait.
Remember when
Dang,
Popeyes
yes,
on
I do.
Empire was a corner store?
Wait.
That's the last
You don't
time
have
I had
Popeyes
it.
this week too, right?
So I'm sorry. Let me share. Let me get you into the door with us.
Okay.
On Empire and Ocean Avenue,
Yes.
there's a Popeyes on that corner.
I know it.
Yeah.
That Popeyes used to be a corner store.
When
That was
was
last
this?
time
You know when that was? 1994.
Why do you remember that?
Because I used to live down the block. That's the last time I had a honey bun.
It was
and
so
we used to
good.
pass that corner store
my
every
God.
day to get on the B41 for school. And when we moved, that was the last time I had a honey bun.
It was good.
Oh,
So
my
the
God.
fact that just made my stomach do a flip.
I can't even tell you last time I had a honey bun.
Can I
but
tell
yeah.
you how? Don't do it.
Yeah, don't be
You know
like
how
that.
sweet that is?
I'm not going to do a honey bun.
honey
I would
bun
literally get
has
sick immediately.
6 grams of sugar.
Listen.
No,
I
it got
was
worse though. It
kidding.
got worse though. That
I
was
would
just the
be-
beginning. So I had the honey bun.
Oh, I didn't even let you finish. I'm so
Oh
sorry.
no, because
got
I was
stuck at
ordering
honey bun.
Chinese food while I was eating the honey bun.
Wild. During.
So-
in the moment.
Oh
honey.
yeah. So I went to the Chinese food restaurant. I got shrimp and broccoli and white rice.
Okay.
And then I was eating a honey bun while I was waiting. Right.
Okay, I'm gonna interrupt you, Kay.
What's up?
So Kay's pregnant. Kay, would you like to share how much weight you gained since?
Oh, would you believe I only gained a pound?
You get it, girl.
No, as much as I eat, because then we went to Cheesecake Factory, right? Like 3 hours later.
Cheesecake
No, I promise
Factory.
you. And I don't even eat pork, but I had something with I had pasta with bacon.
Yeah.
Oh, you had
beef,
the Bolognese?
yeah, something like that. It
Yes.
had bacon, beef,
Uh-huh.
some other type of meat. I think
Okay.
pepperoni on it too.
Oh,
I was so full still, but I'm still eating it. And I had a strawberry shake.
okay.
But yes, I've only gained a pound. I was like, because when I looked at this girl, I had an appointment early this week. I was like, that's still the same way when I came in. It was like, yeah, you only gained a pound.
Are you active? Like,
I don't think so. No.
Can I just tell you something?
It's the baby.
So this is
the baby.
Can you
well,
imagine
now-
eating all of that and they tell you only gained a pound?
No, you're talking to a lady who used to eat one meal a day, though.
Oh, yeah.
So this is what I believe, Natasha. This is my own
Got it.
thought. I'm not a doctor, guys. I'm really not. I may studied a little bit, but I'm not.
Okay.
She has increased her food intake.
Yeah.
So it has increased her metabolism.
Yes. I think that's it. Like, wait.
Okay, are we on the same page?
Look, I'm going to tell you
Okay.
why I believe this. So, a few weeks ago, I think I posted about it. I was in a stall, right? I had not lost weight, right? For 3 whole weeks. And I'm like, my surgery has been reversed. Panic.
Right?
My man is like, you need to sit your ass down. Like every day, I'm getting on the scale. He's like, what is wrong with you? I did not lose any weight. So I went from losing, I lost, the first month was insane. I think I lost 26 pounds. But I went from losing on average 13 pounds a month, right? To losing 0. Mind you, the doctor just told me you need to be 190 pounds come April. So I'm freaking out, right? Okay. I was not eating, right? I was very low calories, 500 calories a day. And I'm and I'm working out, I'm boxing, I'm walking, I'm doing all this stuff. I had a moment, 3 weeks. So then I said, I have to increase my calories. I went from 500 to 1,000 calories. Dropped the weight. I'm down. So I was 225 2 weeks ago. I think I weighed myself on Friday and I'm 214.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what you did.
Congratulations. Because what your body
That's what you
does
did.
when you do that, you don't want your body to go into starvation ever. Because what it does is stores.
Everything.
It stores. So if you're only feeding your body 1 meal per day, some people thrive through that, but some other people don't. So if you're storing that one, that's why you're gaining. That's why it's holding on to it. So when she started increasing, I was like, girl, when I think it was a month ago, I was like, Kona, I don't think you gained a weight. You actually lost weight to me. You're like, really?
It happened.
I'm eating so much. I'm like, that's probably why.
And I eat everything, y'all.
everything.
She don't know. I'm plotting on getting some loaded fries after this.
Okay.
You laughing?
Well,
I'm
girl,
serious.
I went ahead and cleared the front seat, so it's all good.
Okay. I cleared the front seat.
So it's fine.
She definitely did. Because there was a lot of stuff she was putting in the trunk, honey. I was like, what's that? So.
Oh my gosh.
That is funny.
I love it.
I love that.
Yeah.
We're so happy
Yes,
that
so
you
happy
took
that you
the
came.
time out. And I'm so happy you accepted this.
I'm happy to be the
invitation.
first guest.
Yeah,
Like,
because I was like, this is groundbreaking. We're here to knock people's boots and socks off.
Okay.
At the same time. So thank you so much.
Thank you for
Natasha,
having me.
being
I am
here.
excited to be here
Yes.
and just for letting me share my story.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
sure.
yes.
We love it.
Definitely got to follow up. I
We're
want
gonna
to
do a
see.
follow-up.
We're gonna have a part 2. This is
Yeah.
gonna
Part
be
2.
interesting because I'm things are changing. Like every week it's something new. So yeah, it's been crazy, but it's we gonna see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you guys.
We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Guys, if you have any questions, we're going to leave Natasha's contact information in the notes and in our description box as well on the YouTube. So
And let us know if y'all have any questions or comments. You can always, it seems like she's a really nice young lady. And she's open. Yeah. Ask her, you know, we are in a safe space.
Yes.
This is a safe space
That's
right
like a big thing for me. It's like if you're gonna come to me with something, just know it's a safe space. Like we started a group chat on Instagram that people are free to join. Just let me know. I was working on a secret project, but I guess I'll talk about it. But I'm just gonna take what I'm doing to YouTube. 100% there yet, but I'm getting there. I'm just trying to figure out how to marry like everything that I'm doing with like my weight loss journey and then all my like sneaker craziness. Like how to marry both of them. So yeah.
Okay, so yeah, definitely comment, like, and subscribe, or leave her details in.
Yay.
Thank you so much for joining us, Natasha.
Thank you.
Bonneau.
Bonneau.
Remember that. Okay.
Remember that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. That's great. Loved having you here.
Thank you. This was fun.
You liked it?
I love this.
Especially because we not like mean people.